Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Sport This Week video, and in today's video I've got basketball, baseball, tennis, ice hockey, darts, football, NFL, boxing, UFC, Formula 1, Moto GP, cricket, and yeah, I believe that's all the sports. If you're new around here and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you're doing a like video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this, I'm going to start off with the basketball news. So, Warriors lost 99-96 versus Timberwolves. Celtics lost 130-111 versus Wizards. Heat lost 106-92 versus Raptors. Warriors won 120-109 versus Pelicans. Heat lost 101-92 versus Knicks. Lakers won 121-110 versus Bulls. Celtics won 140-99 versus Bucks. Celtics won 122-114 versus Jazz. Lakers won 123-111 versus Timberwolves. Warriors won 130-115 versus Spurs. And Heat won 129-122 versus Mavericks. And that is all the basketball news. Moving on now to the baseball news. Dodgers won 3-0 versus Angels. Yankees won 8-4 versus Rays. Red Sox lost 6-1 versus Braves. Astros won 3-1 versus Cowboys. Dodgers won 5-4 versus Angels. Yankees lost 3-0 versus Nationals. Red Sox lost 7-5 versus Braves. Astros won 5-1 versus Cowboys. Dodgers lost 13-5 versus Angels. Yankees won 5-0 versus Giants. Red Sox lost 10-9 versus Orioles. Astros lost 3-2 versus White Sox. Dodgers won 8-2 versus Diamondbacks. Astros won 6-3 versus White Sox. Dodgers lost 2-1 versus Diamondbacks. Astros won 6-4 versus White Sox. Giants won 7-5 versus Yankees. Red Sox won 9-8 versus Orioles. Dodgers won 10-1 versus Diamondbacks. Red Sox won 9-5 versus Orioles. Yankees won 6-0 versus Giants. Astros won 6-3 versus lost 6-3 versus White Sox. And Dodgers lost 2-1 versus Diamondbacks. And that is all the baseball news. Moving on now to the tennis news, where it's the continuation of the Miami Open. So Tsitsipas won 2-1 versus Garin. Medvedev won by walkover versus Molcan. Alcaraz won 2-0 versus Poole. Tsitsipas lost 2-0 versus Kachanov. Medvedev won 2-0 versus Hallis. Medvedev won 2-0 versus Eubanks. Alcaraz won 2-0 versus Fritz. Medvedev won 2-1 versus Kachanov. Alcaraz lost 2-1 versus Sinner. Kvitova won 2-0 versus Rybakina to win the women's singles Miami Open. Medvedev won 2-0 versus Sinner to win the men's singles Miami Open. Russian and Belarusian players are now allowed to compete in Wimbledon 2023. And Goff and Pegula won 2-0 versus Fernandez and Townsend to win the women's doubles Miami Open. And that is all the tennis news. Moving on now to the ice hockey news. Canadians won 4-3 versus Sabres. Bruins lost 2-1 versus Predators. Canadians lost 3-2 versus Flyers. Red Wings won 7-4 versus Penguins. Maple Leafs lost 3-2 versus Panthers. Canadians lost 5-2 versus Panthers. Bruins won 2-1 versus Blue Jackets. Red Wings won 3-2 versus Hurricanes. Red Wings lost 6-2 versus Jets. Bruins won 4-3 versus Penguins. Maple Leafs won 3-0 versus Senators. Canadians lost 3-0 versus Hurricanes. Chittil has signed a 4-year deal with Rangers. And Bruins won 4-3 versus Blues. And that is all the ice hockey news. Moving on now to the darts news, where we have Premier League darts with Smith won 6-3 versus Van den Berg. Van Gerwen lost 6-5 versus Clayton. Price won 6-3 versus Wright. Smith won 6-4 versus Aspinall. Price lost 6-4 versus Clayton. Smith lost 6-4 versus Clayton. International, it was also the International Darts Open, where Wright won 6-3 versus Justicia. Van Gerwen won 6-5 versus Campbell. Price won 6-3 versus Smith. Smith lost 6-1 versus De Decker. Van Gerwen won 6-1 versus De Souza. Wright won 6-4 versus Sutar. Price won 6-5 versus De Decker. Van Gerwen won 6-0 versus Wright. Price won 6-4 versus Cross. Van Gerwen won 7-4 versus Schindler. Price won 8-4 versus Van Gerwen to win the International Darts Open. And that is all the darts news. Moving on now to the cricket news, where it's quite a bit this week. So Afghanistan won by 7 wickets versus Pakistan. Bangladesh won by 22 runs versus Ireland. Canada won by 31 runs versus Jersey. UAE won by 21 runs versus Papua New Guinea. Pakistan won by 66 runs versus Afghanistan. West Indies won by 7 runs versus South Africa. Canada won by 26 runs versus USA. Namibia won by 48 runs versus Papua New Guinea. Bangladesh won by 77 runs versus Ireland. Namibia won by 8 wickets versus Jersey. USA won by 5 wickets versus UAE. Ireland won by 7 wickets versus Bangladesh. New Zealand won by 6 wickets versus Sri Lanka. South Africa won by 8 wickets versus Netherlands. Jersey won by 11 runs versus Papua New Guinea. UAE won by 6 wickets versus Canada. Sri Lanka won by a super over versus New Zealand. UAE won by 28 runs versus Namibia. USA won by 117 runs versus Papua New Guinea. And that is all the cricket news. Moving on now to the NFL, where there's only one bit of news, and that being Falcons are signing Campbell. And so yeah, that is all the NFL news. Moving on now to the football news. France won 1-0 versus Ireland. Netherlands won 3-0 versus Gibraltar. Sarri won Manager of the Month. Scotland won 2-0 versus Spain. Croatia won 2-0 versus Turkey. Belgium won 3-2 versus Germany. Morocco drew 0-0 versus Peru. Argentina won 7-0 versus Curacao. Sir Alex Ferguson and Arsene Wenger are inducted into the Hall of Fame. Arsenal won 2-0 versus Bayern. Barcelona won 5-1 versus Roma. Saka won Player of the Month. Arteta won Manager of the Month. Shaw has signed a new long-term deal with Man U. Johnny won Goal of the Month. Wolfsburg drew 1-1 versus PSG. Chelsea won 4-3 on pens versus Lyon. Ramsdale won Save of the Month. Man U won 4-0 versus Brighton. Man City won 4-1 versus Liverpool. Bayern won 4-2 versus Dortmund. Juventus won 1-0 versus Verona. Villa won 2-0 versus Chelsea. Bournemouth won 2-1 versus Fulham. Arsenal won 4-1 versus Leeds. Brighton drew 3-3 versus Brentford. Palace won 2-1 versus Leicester. Forest drew 1-1 versus Wolves. Barcelona won 4-0 versus Elche. Rodgers has been sacked by Leicester. Newcastle won 2-0 versus Man U. West Ham won 1-0 versus Southampton. Arsenal won 2-1 versus Man City. Potter has been sacked by Chelsea. Real Madrid won 6-0 versus Real Valladolid. Lyon won 1-0 versus PSG. Milan won 4-0 versus Napoli. And Atletico Madrid won 1-0 versus Betis. And yeah, that is all the football news. Moving on now to the boxing news. So Canas has joined Golden Boy. Haney will fight Lomachenko on the 20th of May. That fight I can't wait for. I've been known that's been happening for a while now. I'm glad to see the announcement finally made. Hope everything goes ahead with that and nothing happens with that, because that is a big fight which I'm really looking forward to see. Alongside that fight with another fight I would like to see, really looking forward to see as well. Nui will fight Fulton Jr. on the 25th of July, so that new rescheduled date. Ortiz versus Stanionis is off due to injury to Ortiz Jr. It is sad seemingly what's happening with that. I can't name the thing he's got that's an issue with him, because I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, it's seemingly been troubling him recently and in his last fight as well, and so yeah, hopefully he can recover from that and make it so he doesn't have a problem with that again, because otherwise it would be a big shame for a talent like that to be lost for a kind of unfortunate incident and an unfortunate kind of, I suppose, disease in a way that you can't really do too much about. Janovic versus Butler. Conceição, Flores Jr., Norman Jr., Martinez and Brady Jr. will fight on the 13th of May. Maloney versus Astrolabio will fight on the 13th of May. Taraji will fight Olaskuga on the 8th of April. Winderson will fight Filipek on the 22nd of April. Eggington won by TKO in round 4 versus McCarthy. Frank will fight Harris on the 13th of May. Good to see Frank back fighting, and that big fight with the British title on the line. Dutt won by split decision versus Watson. Nantes won by KO in round 1 versus Moore. Tate won by TKO in round 1 versus Blader. Rushton won by a unanimous decision versus Campbell to become Australian super featherweight champion. Larfield won by stoppage in round 8 versus Amol Ragam. Hawker won by TKO in round 7 versus Brown to remain WIBA World Featherweight Champion. Hill won by majority decision versus Nagmi to become Australian Super Welterweight Champion. Masson won by unanimous decision versus Turchi to become IBO World Cruiserweight Champion, which I didn't predict right, but was a great war, and credit to both fighters, they both gave it their all, and yeah, like I said, a great war. Ryan has joined Matchroom, Cattrall has joined Matchroom, and Edwards has also joined Matchroom. Grasso won via points versus Sheldon. Patterson drew versus Mamedov. Smith won via points versus Genovese. Brandon won via TK in round 1 versus Lopez. Henty won via points versus Alexandrov. Harris won via TK in round 1 versus Lopez. Henty won via points versus Alexandrov. Just said that. Harris won via TK in round 1 versus Veletic. Alishk won via points versus Rueg. Scarf won via unanimous decision versus Dujon. Credit to Harry Scarf. Unfortunate for Jordan Dujon, was a good fight for both fighters. They both did themselves justice, and yeah, Harry Scarf managed to become the winner, and I'd say arguably deserved winner. Barayov won via TKO in round 3 versus Katona. Eubank won via unanimous decision versus Antim. Lara versus Wood rematch, and Katarou will fight on the 27th of May. Alamayouf won via points versus Velichkov. Kadiru won via stoppage round 1 versus Lewiriole. Hatton won via KO in round 1 versus Fielding. Hedges won via points versus Bokiansky. Flynn won via points versus Baker. Huber won via points versus Lidijaj. Wardley won via TKO round 4 versus Coffey to become a WBA Continental and British Heavyweight Champion. Yafai won via TKO round 4 versus Caleros. Williams won via TKO round 8 versus Wilson Bent. Unfortunate for Wilson Bent, of course, if I'm on the channel, but it was a very good showing from him, and it was a very tough fight and a very big ask to ask for a win. But yeah, very good showing from him, and I'm sure he'll be getting big fights down the line still ahead of him. Joshua won by unanimous decision versus Franklin, which I did predict right. I thought it'd be a stoppage. Probably should have been a stoppage. Probably could have been a stoppage if he just turned it up a bit. But yeah, Joshua back to winning ways. Not the best of performances. Don't want to overhype it at all. And I'm glad that I don't think anybody seemingly is, because it wasn't. Maybe would like to see him fight, I suppose, White. I wouldn't like to see him fight Fury. I think he get battered. Same with Wilder at the moment. I think he hasn't got the right mindset going into that fight. Joyce, I think he'd lose stylistically. Usyk, of course, that's never going to happen again. So yeah, I think White probably would be the best matchup. Dubois, I wouldn't hate, but I don't think that would happen because he's getting the purse bid soon happening for the Usyk fight, and so that might be happening. But overall, not the best, but at least he's back to winning ways, I suppose. Moving on, McGinty won via points versus Ruggiero. O'Brien won via TKO round 5 versus Alvarez. Aldo drew versus Stevens, which I didn't predict right, but credit to both fighters. Both made a good account for themselves. I thought it would be a somewhat close fight. Belfort won via unanimous decision versus Santos. Cushing won via TKO round 3 versus Marciano. Pettis won via majority decision versus Jones Jr., which I did predict right. It was a close fight. A lot of people were saying that that Jones Jr. would wipe the floor with him. I kind of did just kind of go with the mindset of, I think Jones Jr. is probably a bit too old for this now. They said they might run it back. I don't know if they will. Probably isn't necessary, but it might happen. I wouldn't mind seeing Jones Jr. not fight again. Not to sound horrible, but I think he is just at that age which I wouldn't mind seeing him not fight again. But I suppose at the other end of the coin, other end of the stick, I suppose, wouldn't mind seeing him fight again. So whatever, really. Overall, good event for the first Gamebred event, and yeah, happy with it. Feliciano won via unanimous decision versus Booth. Carbotti won via TKO in round 2 versus Toff. Spada won via points versus Ivkovic. Bichicki won via TKO in round 4 versus Fedjovic. Magnesi won via unanimous decision versus Jimenez to become WBC Silver Super Heavyweight Champion, which I didn't predict right. Vargas won via KO in round 2 versus Uvail. Benjamin won via TKO in round 2 versus Macargo. Polanco won via unanimous decision versus Chiaros. Masson won via KO in round 1 versus Benavides. Milton won via unanimous decision versus Maldonado. Johnson won via unanimous decision versus Oliveira. Tucker won via unanimous decision versus Seknilashvili. Gonzalez won via unanimous decision versus Vivas. Ramirez won via unanimous decision versus Dogbo to become WBO World Featherweight Champion, which I did predict right. It was a very good fight. I thought it would be a good fight. And yeah, Ramirez needs that kind of fight to progress very well in his career, and I think he is at a very good point in his career. And of course, now he's the World WBO Champion, and so it'll be interesting to see what kind of opportunities come his way after that fight. But yeah, now moving on to UFC news, there's only one bit of news, and that is what I believe is the right bit of news, being that Tapera will fight Emmett on the 17th of June. I believe that's not right. Hopefully that is. But yeah, now moving on to the Moto GP news. Marquez missed the Argentina Grand Prix due to injury, and Oliveira also missed the Argentina Grand Prix due to injury. So it was the Argentina Grand Prix, of course, like I mentioned. Marquez was on pole, Bezzecchi started second, and Bagnaia started third. In the end, Bezzecchi won, Zarco came second, and Marquez came third. with not finishing races. And so yeah, now moving on to the F1 news, where it's the Australian Grand Prix. Verstappen was on pole, Russell started second, and Hamilton started third. In the end, Verstappen won, Hamilton came second, and Alonso came third, with Gasly, Ocon, De Vries, Sargent, Magnussen, Russell, Alonso, and Leclerc not finishing. Nice to see Hamilton getting his first podium, and also nice to see Alonso just consistently getting that third place, and of course Verstappen on top again. But yeah, that is it for today's video. Hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you did, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.